Welcome to YouTube, it's Juicy. Just going over, I just unlocked Professor X yesterday, and so just through the leaderboards primarily. An offer, I did spend an offer because I did pick one tune that did not work out for me, and so I ended up having to buy the mutant offer. I didn't have to, I chose to. Um, so let me be clear on that. I chose to spend money on particular couple of events to make that happen. Typically, I'm only spending around $50 a month, um, just to kind of give you a game plan of what it costs you. So I'm just gonna go over what I did. If there's any tips or tricks to how to do these. So going to Professor X Saga. This one, there's nothing really special, right? You just take your G19 tunes, which you should already have. When it comes to City, I only brought I brought the 5 on the right. They work just fine. Maybe a couple resets on one of the nodes, but this team just does fine. I'll take as many of the vigilante as possible. If you need to bring up your skill tunes, right? I wouldn't bring up any Spider Society, Sinister Six. These teams, I mean, City's just one of those. You really only have these options um, of value. The rest of these are just not good picks. They have old stats, they're reworked. So until we get a rework, I wouldn't touch anything else. Um, that one's pretty straightforward. No one's really asking too much about that, but I'm just gonna go in order. All right, for villains, save yourself a little bit of tech gear, get a little more value. So I ended up using, instead of the rest of the Orcus team, I used Omega Red, Phoenix Force, and he's only at a 4/4, so just a standard free to play unlock. And then Zuggs, excuse me, he is 3 diamond, but that's just fine. He doesn't really do a whole lot. The only node that is difficult with this crew is the last node, and the only trick to this one is instead of then you need a basic with. I'm trying to think what the thing is. All right, so here instead of the ult, you're going to do I think the special ability block. The that guy, or he will kill your Zugs every time. That gives you a chance to take turns. This does take a little bit more resets than just your standard. Right, you would stun her, or not stun. Fred over here in the corner. Um, right, boom, boom. You would really want that to chain it to all 4 of them on the perfect RNG, just to kind of give you an idea of what you're doing. Big thing is to be careful with is your Zugs in the corner. If you do bring Zugs, he is probably the easiest target to kill. So you obviously don't want to taunt with him, or he will just die. Um, yep, and this is a reset because that Zugs is gonna die. Um, so got through it, saying that it is doable. It's not insane, but this is definitely if you go the cheap route, you just have to accept that you will be resetting a little bit. Um, Actually, I might get through this. Nope, he's dead. Turbo dead. See, that's why I wanted Omega Red to chain into him earlier. If Omega Red had chained into him originally, he would have gotten low enough that he would have died from that ult from Omega Sentinel. But because he got that second turn off, if he takes a second turn, he's going to kill at least one member, if not multiple. So that run is over because you have to get 3 stars and everything. That's the hardest part about these. Global Hero. My first combo that I did was, and this is where I ended up having to spend that offer. All right, so the 3 on the left, I obviously did. So this is what I started with. The problem that you have, there is potential here to get through it, but I can tell you that it's going to look like literally 40 hours of resetting. I was resetting this thing for about a day straight. You're like, just here or there. So I'll probably spend an hour on this, just resetting. And I mean, I could get it to the point where I can like, um, the biggest thing, the hardest part is that you have to have perfect RNG. You need both the stuns to land. They have to go first, and they have to stun in the same spot, um, hitting into immunity so they don't stun anybody at the start. Um, there's just so much RNG. But yeah, you can see that I have 2 stuns. This is already reset. This wouldn't even be worth it. What happens is basically now, because you have 2 stuns, you can't get everybody on their side stunned before they go crazy on you, and it's basically over. So, Captain Britain, while a good tune and a very cheap tune, because he brings a second stun on that opener, it makes it very difficult, very RNG, to get anywhere on it. So, what I ended up doing is end up dropping that and putting in Jean Grey. Make Hank a healer, because you're gonna need some health on this one. This one takes a lot of. I mean, this isn't as easy. I mean, you need placement. You need you need the stuns to happen into either Hank or I think Falcon, if I remember right. Right, so they're all gonna go. Ideally, you want Sharon to go first. The reason why is because you see how that's the good RNG. See, no one got stunned, which is gonna really help me on controlling them. All right, because now when I get my turns, this is actually funny enough great RNG. I probably actually would clear on this one. For Hank, yeah, let's. Be mindful of turn bar. So this one reduces at 50% speed. If you're not going to reduce anybody by speed, you need to save that. You need to give everybody a speed up again. Right. Here, go ahead and give everyone defense down because they all have they all have what's it called? Good resistance. Stun the Sharon, and then you're going to come back around. You're going to stun the Hank next. Then you're going to tunnel down Hank. So you're going to slow them all. Remember that when you knock somebody low, they will cleanse. So boom, 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 boom. Right, so you want to not knock them down until. Let's see here. This one is reduced by 50%. So let's do that right here so we can keep this right side from going. Keeps them on stun. That's fine. This one is energy. Yeah, we can go after the Jean because we have no options. See? So. Alright. Ult. Let's reset the Jean. So he's just watching the turn meter. See, I already got one out. This is, I said, I can still lose this because they do a lot more damage than you do. Maybe that's because I don't have good stars on them or whatever. But yeah, let's go after you. Stun you so you don't cleanse all that. Then we're gonna go tunnel over here. Oh, this might be it. Might have, yeah. Gotta be very careful. Hank is really helpful in this because you can get those resets. So I'm not out of the park, but that letting her ult was a mistake. That might have cost me this whole run. Again, thankfully I'm already done with it, but I got a couple of these where I got it down to like 2 members in the Shadow King, and I had to reset, and it was very, very frustrating. It's very frustrating when you get that close. Just like if this was actually my goal for the unlock, I would be really mad because I know that I just made that mistake and it might have just cost me the reset. Because I'm in this little area where I ran out of skills, and so this is where I'm dead. Yep, lost members, have to reset. So it kind of gives you a good example of what a good start is. Again, I messed up by letting one person go. Again, you kind of have to keep them under control. That team does get through it. I did get through it, and I did get Professor X with that exact comp. Oh man, Logan and CB just do too much when they spawn in first that you just can't get ahead. It's just impossible. So that's just my 2 cents on that. And then these were pretty. I mean, these were all easy. I mean, honestly, I autoed. This is the comp I use, so save yourself a little bit of Mystic Gear by taking in Null instead of Mephisto. Mephisto's still a good choice. Sus is still a good choice. Honestly, you could have probably, but I mean, they all. I mean, the nice thing is that none of these other ones. I guess you want to take Calvarine or Santana. You could instead of like, Gore. I would say Shadow King. I would keep in there. But this is the comp I used. It was all auto. It was easy. Nothing really. I didn't really try on this one. Um, this one, the only thing you have to worry about. So I didn't take the duck. I took this comp in. It works just fine. On the last node, you just have to be careful because he does. This one took me a couple resets, but it's really something silly. It has to do with the fact that um, your Professor X does. But this thing did just fine. Is that he calls assistant to others. Be mindful that you have to go after the other tunes. Because he doesn't actually lose turn meter until his crew dies. So the biggest thing is just make sure you go after his crew. Right, save that. Right, because he's not going to lose life. You have to kill everybody around him in order for him to lose life. That's something I learned. It's kind of a silly thing, but it definitely is something to notice because I don't think some people didn't notice that. I didn't notice that until I was like, oh yeah, they're not. Yeah. And I said I had a couple times of RNG where instead of this crew, I think Odin ended up killing my Havoc a couple times just by the fork that they attack each other. And yeah, I said not a huge deal, but super easy. Um, I said just don't fixate on the Xavier. Fixate on everybody else. Now you do want to, if you can, land a slow on him, but once you get your Odin back and running, it's over, right? So once I can get to his turn where he can actually special, right? Because he can assist to cleanse himself. Also, he has trauma. Um, so I'm gonna do this. Well, I still have trauma now, but I'm cleansed off, and I also got my battlefield effect out. And then it's over because once they take turns, now they're gonna kill themselves. And boop. I said it's just surviving that thing. You see, again, if you go after him, he'll just heal right back up. He doesn't take damage. He only takes damage as you see when I'm clearing everybody around him. So now I'm just gonna kill the Omega Red and the APOC, and then it's over. So it's a very silly mechanic. They shouldn't. I don't know. I think you should have to damage him while you're doing. I don't know why they didn't do that, so that you would, because I would probably try to work around so that I didn't have to deal with the second wave. The second wave is probably the worst. It's closest you get to dying, unless your own team's trying to kill you. And then boom, that would have been the unlock. So Hyperion, all of them. I think the big ones are obviously Odin. Did a lot there. Odin does almost all the work. You have to pick Lilandra. I think Havoc's a good choice. Howard's a good choice. The thing about Howard is he's just a little flimsy. Um, now that he's kind of free to play available, you can start getting him to 5, 6, 7 star. I got his stars in pretty much for free. The 7th star, just buying the Battle World store and the payout. Um, and then refreshing the Battle World store, just trying to get through those teams, get them up and running, get them maxed out, just because I'm a big Crucible player. But anyway, that's how I did Professor X. Let me know how you did it. Quasar, it's a great question. Quasar is a great choice. I did Hyperion because of the event. That was a leaderboard event where every point mattered. So you got 10,000 points for what's it called? 10,000 points for Hyperion instead, so I did Hyperion. He didn't do a whole lot, and I would have probably taken Quasar instead if I was in that position. Not a big war person, but I can guarantee you Quasar probably would have been a better value than that. So that's a great question from chat. But any of the... Really, as long as you bring Odin and Lilandra, I think you're going to be fine. I wouldn't recommend not going in with Odin because Odin did all the work there. Kahori is great because of her abilities. She's just an annoying tune. So anyway, that would be my 2 cents on villain. Just looking at these, everything else I kind of went through. So best of luck in unlocking Xavier. Let me know if y'all have any questions in the comments below.